everyone.
That's Dan Schneiderman.
Oh yeah, I should say who I am. Hi, I'm Dan Schneiderman. I'm the Eclipse Partnership Coordinator here at the RMSC, and this is Deb.
I'm Deb Ross. I'm chair of Rochester's Eclipse Taskforce, and I am currently here at the RMSC in Dan's office, although not so employed.
The one thing, we'll quickly share, not to add extra anxiety to myself, and some people have already seen our mobile version, but we now have countdown clocks.
So.
And yes, this is off by a few seconds. I do want to give a quick shout out to Carpus Investment Management for partnering up on the clocks and our mobile ones. This will actually be installed. We have two of them that will be here on our grounds, one to be installed here in the planetarium and one to be installed next door in the main building. And then of course, one travel one. But you know what? We are counting down the days because, well, let me share my screen. We are officially 234 days or less than 8 months until the total solar eclipse next year. It is quickly coming up. I know Deb and I were recently discussing, oh, hey, we remember 1,500 days. This is rapidly approaching. And in fact, we are less than 60 days until the partial eclipse, for which we will talk a little bit more about today.
A quick introduction of just your general leadership. These are the folks who really stepped up years ago to help make all of this happen. I'm chair of the task force. We have three main stakeholder sectors. Tourism, which is headed up by Visit Rochester, and your liaisons there are Diana Rapp-Keating and Rachel Labor-Palvino. Outreach, education, science, and pretty much anything else you can think of. The Rochester Museum and Science Center with Dan Schneiderman, your Eclipse Task Force, your partnership coordinator here at the RMSC. And transportation, government, emergency management, all that liaison stuff, that's the Genesee Transportation Council with Lori Marr and Jim Stack. So you can find any of us for any of the questions that you need. We'll have contact information there as well if you don't already have it.
So, as a quick reminder as a quick share of raise your hand using the raise hand feature, if this is your first meeting, I know we will be reiterating this every time as we're getting closer and closer, but we do have a couple raised hands. So, the few times that you're going to want to remember for April 8th, 2024, Monday, April 8th, 2024, is that, the first contact of the sun happens at 2:07 p.m. when the moon starts to cover out the sun, and then totality, the main event, takes place at 3:20 p.m. Here at the RMSC, it will be for 3 minutes and 38 seconds. It does vary based on your location. And then all of this ends at 4:33 p.m. I will say the difference between start time across the entire region is just in the seconds and milliseconds. Very, very basic science is moon in front of sun, cast giant shadow. We are within that shadow, which is known as the path of totality.
Before you move on really quickly, this is actually a super useful graphic to illustrate what it actually means to be an annular eclipse. So in totality, you see that the moon is casting a shadow there. It's perfectly positioned between the sun and the earth to do so. In October, on October 14th, our country is going to experience an annular eclipse. Imagine that moon moved back just a little tiny bit toward the sun. What happens then is that it's far enough away that it doesn't completely cover the sun. And so you don't have that tiny little shadow in the middle, but you do have the penumbra. So all of us will experience that eclipse as partial within there.
And we'll be talking more about that eclipse in just a few minutes. So as a reminder, here is the path for April 8th, 2024. So anywhere in between these two blue lines, you will be in totality. If you're just outside, you will still get an incredible view, but it won't be totality. The closer you are to that red line, the longer it is. I do want to give a shout out to our friends in Brockport as they are dead center, which is actually where Deb and I were this past weekend at the Brockport's Art Festival. Literally, maybe half a mile, if that, from the dead center.
Yeah, one of the things about those lovely Brockport people is that, boy, are they aware of the eclipse. Brockport has done a fantastic job getting the word out. We always ask, do you know that there's an eclipse happening? And the vast majority of people at Brockport already knew all about it, had already made some of their plans. So that was really a lot of fun. Other festivals have been running like half and half, I would say.
Yeah. So one of the big things that we've wanted to start talking about is, as we talk with a lot of you, a lot of questions and misconceptions kind of come up. And I think probably starting at every meeting, we'll start covering one or two of them. There was two that we really wanted to cover today.
So the first one is how the light behaves during the entire eclipse. So let's just talk about like the timing of it. At 2:07 p.m. is when the moon will start to cover the sun. You can see that in this graphic here, how it kind of progresses. You have total light at the very top. That red line is going to be how the light around you declines. So it takes a long time, almost an hour, for the quality of the light to affect your body at all, right? At 3:02 p.m., your pupils are going to start to dilate. And that's when the sun is 75% covering, the moon is 75% covering the sun. It is quite spectacular, but only if you're looking through your glasses. So let's head on to a couple more slides. At 85% at 3:09 p.m. that day, you might kind of perceive midday shade. That's the quality of the light. But it doesn't, you won't notice it. It's just too much light out there. Next, at 95% coverage, the light outside is like an overcast day. Still plenty of light. You can't look at the sun. You kind of might notice. But it won't be until the very, very last minute when the brightness fades. It kind of goes whoosh without any of those sound effects. It isn't a gradual darkening like twilight is on a normal day. It is a big get dark really, really fast. So the experience of the fading of the light is fast and profound. So it's important to know that if you're planning events, if you're planning for your own time, what that experience will be like. So that's one of the misconceptions we found, that people think it's just like gradual twilight. No, even though it looks through your glasses like the moon is almost completely covering the sun, if you have light outside, you don't know. And that's probably why it was so scary for people before they could predict eclipses, right? It was a sudden darkening. It wasn't just like it got dark early.
There's a lot of good video footage out there. And later on, like at the end, when we're asking questions, we can even probably pull up one of the videos that Steve Fentress, our planetarium director, took. And it really shows it is a pretty sudden bit of darkness. And then the opposite on the other end, where it's suddenly gets very bright out. We also wanted to talk about, a lot of people have been asking about this with merchandise, and we've even found some of this out there of some people might use the phases of the moon versus the phases of the eclipse, and they are different. You will want to use different graphics, where on the top we have the moon phases. You have to read this right to left, just as we see it from our perspective, starting with not really seeing anything through a new moon, eventually getting that first quarter, more and more with the waxing gibbous, and then full, and then flipping it into the waning gibbous and waning crescent. With the eclipse, you're covering up the sun. It's, you start bright and then you go dark. So compared to the moon, where you start dark, go light, then go dark, it's the complete opposite for the eclipse. I hope that does clear it up a little. With this, we are going to turn it over, and
We need to find Dana.
Need to find Dana to spotlight.
Can you unmute Dana and put your
there you are.
Yay.
Okay, so just a brief update here. So Monroe County, we're holding planning meetings. They're mostly internal at this point, but we are extending the invitation to external stakeholders. So for example, RMSC and GTC, and that will continue from now on. We're doing monthly meetings, and they may become more regular as we go. We're also mapping events from the list that RMSC has compiled and put together, and putting it on a map comparing it to other locations for other things. And the most significant, I guess, or at least something worth mentioning, is we are developing a coordination plan. And that is to outline the situation, the agencies that are involved, their roles, responsibilities, operations in general. So a very brief update, just quickly what we're doing.
Thank you for that update.
You're welcome.
And we'll, share the screen for just a second and then unshare. We would also like to welcome Harrison from Sandbox Films, who I know some of you have met or have heard Deb or I start talking about this a few months ago.
We have a wonderful announcement from Harrison, and it's so much better to have him share that announcement rather than us. So Harrison.
So nice to be here. Wow, spotlighted. Yeah, my name's Harrison. I'm an associate producer on the film Totality. I have the real pleasure of working with some filmmaker idols on this film, including Kate Davis and David Hellbrunner, who have a slew of accolades to their name, including an Academy Award nomination, a number of Peabody Awards, some Emmys. These are for real filmmakers, and we're working with Sandbox Films, the very artistic cousin of Sandbox Science, to produce what we hope will be a very far-reaching, widespread, popularly experienced and seen feature-length documentary film about the 2024 total eclipse, focusing on the United States. What makes our film slightly different from previous films about the eclipse is we're really focused on the human element. So, we're going to honor the science and educate as our relationship with Sandbox Science requires and deserves. But the film is really a portrait of America and this American moment, and how this event, despite all that is America in this moment, serves to unify folks, and silences us and all of our arguing while we look up at the sky together. And so we will be looking at the sky alongside you, but we're also looking at you, at us, as we experience it in community. And so we're really excited to be doing this work. Really grateful for Deb and Dan, who are going to be a big part of this film. Rochester is one of our main, Rochester, Buffalo, Niagara, the sort of Western New York region is going to be one of our main locations for the film. So we're always looking to talk, and it's really my role as the associate producer, and I was researcher before that for the development phase, to get in touch with folks who are doing unique things, have a unique perspective on the coming event. A big part of what we're going to do is crowdsourcing footage, because we can't be everywhere, and this is happening in so many places and so quickly. So we're building a mechanism to take in footage from local, amateur, and professional filmmakers along the path. And we're excited to be able to license that footage, and give people credit, and really involve folks as filmmakers and as collaborators in this project. So more to come about that, to be shared through the channels. And I'm officially on the Rochester Eclipse. I forget what the website is, but you can find my profile there. If you have a story to tell and want to get in touch, you can find me, and I'd love to hear from you. So that's what's happening. Thanks so much. Deb, Dan, if there's anything I missed or you want me to speak about specifically, feel free to let me know.
I will tell people, expect introductions from us, for which I know I owe quite a handful of them, and has been in my to-do list, but and I think the same for Deb, of expecting introductions from us.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the thing that we've been thinking about is, as you guys are all planning, start thinking visually, right? Both the planning phase, what you're doing looks like, what would look great on film. These folks have been giving us quite the education, starting from when they came up on April 8th of this year, to film me and Dan and Rebecca and all these other folks that we were interfacing with that day. So it was really fun. So they are definitely a fun bunch. And Harrison, you guys are gonna come up here though again once or twice or in
Yeah,
between the eclipse,
we're
right?
in a sort of we're in a sort of coordinating phase right now, but we plan to film in the later fall and then again in later winter, headed for spring, headed for the eclipse. So that's our schedule right now.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we'll definitely be up in Rochester and Western New York.
Yay. We loved having you, and we will love having you next time too. Okay, let's move along. Thanks, Harrison. Okay. Oh, we have a ta-da moment. Okay. So we have a lot of art that's being created around the community. So lots of you have seen all of Tyler Nordgren's Eclipse art. We have a number of pieces that have been created for our region, 2 for Rochester, 1 for the Finger Lakes, 1 for the Erie Canal towns, 1 for Buffalo and Niagara Falls. And we are excited to feature now, on behalf of Christine Worth from Wayne County Tourism, we are excited to feature the Wayne County official Tyler Nordgren poster joining the collection. So you can see that it's focused on Wayne County's apple country. You can see even the little apples down on the trees, different. You can see Chimney Bluffs there. I believe that's the Lions Courthouse. And the canal as well, featuring all these great things about apple country. And if you go around the outside, you can see the times in totality for Wayne County towns and cities. So it's a lot of fun, and it will be joining the collection. Very exciting.
Are they showing it off this weekend?
They are at the Wayne County Fair. So if you head to the Wayne County Fair, say hello to Christine Worth, and also visit the poster art that they've printed. Okay, one more. We have another poster reveal, and we are going to bring Allie Hargrave from Ganondagan up to say a little something as can we show her and the screen?
Yes.
Okay, let's
Let me
find
just
Allie.
Fine, yes.
Where are you, Allie?
Oh,
Unmute.
it might help if I turn my video on.
Ah,
great,
that
yes.
that makes
That might
it
make a
easy.
difference.
Yeah. You want to
All
tell
right.
a little just about the background for this, and then we'll do the poster reveal?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Allie. I work at Ganondagan State Historic Site. We are a state historic site situated out in Victor, New York. So we're a little bit away from the city. We are a Native American historic site. There was a Seneca Nation town here from the mid to late 1600s. So a lot of what we do here is really centered around, Seneca and Haudenosaunee culture in general. The eclipse, eclipses actually play a big role in one of the stories of how our Confederacy was actually founded. It is said to take place of when we were actually making our form of government under a total solar eclipse, which, using some other geographical locators, some of our oral history, as well as some astronomical data as well, that would put that under the solar eclipse that took place 1142 exactly, which is interesting because there's no exact date. So that's pretty cool. And it'll be visible here. So we're hoping to have our own viewing event with that. And then I asked my coworker, Kaylin Fontanelle, he's kind of an up and coming graphic designer. I asked him to make up our own poster for it. And I think he did a pretty good job with that.
So let's show it, because it's awesome. Ta-da! Let's just linger on it for a minute.
Yeah.
If there's anything else you want to say about it, Allie, that would be awesome.
Yeah, so part of it is, we wanted it to kind of look like here at Ganondagan or out here this way. It's really hilly in this part of New York State, as I'm sure we all know. So we've got the nice rolling hills. The name for the Seneca people in our own languages is Anotdawaka, which is people of the Great Hills. So we wanted to include those there. And then we have, of course, our longhouse there. We got some light spilling out of the door. Just trying to kind of make it look like a really kind of peaceful and serene background there.
When I first saw it, it didn't leave my mind. The folks from Ganondagan brought it to the Cornhill Arts Festival. And so then when I was talking with Allie last week, and I found out that you can get them at Ganondagan, I basically said, I'm coming this afternoon. And I did last week. And then I brought it home to my husband, and he looked at it and he said, do we own that? So you can get them while they're hot again and again, and they'll be making arrangements, I think, to help distribute it even farther and wider because it's gorgeous.
Yes,
we've
yes.
been,
We are talking about that with our boss as well.
Great.
And we are bringing it along with us as we travel to events.
Indeed. So let's go on to that next event, which is in September 29th to 30th, the final Solar Eclipse Taskforce meeting, the national meeting. I'm one of the folks running that as a co-chair of national. Dan will be there presenting, and there'll be a number of other folks from our region. But so here's our main ask for that for now. We need to bring merchandise that you guys are creating. We're having a giant swag show and tell there at the last national meeting. And that'll be at the end of the first day. Everybody from all over the country is bringing their clever, fun Eclipse merchandise and swag to show off, to inspire everybody, and then to kind of give away in big drawings to each other at the end of that day. So as you're designing, you want to hasten that just a little bit, because I want to pack my suitcase. Dan wants to pack his suitcase. And so Western New York is extremely well represented at this meeting. Let me just say also, besides the swag aspect, it is a really fun meeting. So if you're going to be, it's going to be focused on messaging, media. We're going to have a big media speed dating. So we're going to invite lots of journalists. Lots are presenting on panels to teach you how to pitch your Eclipse stories to regional, national, and international press in print, online, radio, and TV. And then you'll have a chance to talk with them. And also we have a section where the rubber meets the road. So if you are planning Eclipse events, large events, small events, and then Dan will be also talking about not just the science, but about sort of this as a legacy. So what does it mean for each of the regions within the path and outside the path? What does it mean for them for the future? How do we make sure that this event leaves a lasting positive impact? So all those great things. So in-person attendance is only $100 plus, of course, your travel, et cetera. And so we encourage you to sign up to come. I'll put that in the chat, but also you can sign up on Zoom for those 2 days. There'll be lots of important and exciting things that you'll be able to learn.
For swag, feel free to message either Deb or myself. And if you just need to drop and run, you can drop it off here at the RMSC. Just kind of let them know it's for me. Honestly, if you just say it's for the Eclipse and it has the Eclipse on it, they'll just assume that it's for me and they'll give me a call and I will bring it with me. We have a whole bunch of other upcoming events for which, we'll even tomorrow night, we'll be at Flower City Brewfest. We're going to have our giant glasses. Depending on the one, I haven't looked at that yet. We should have our giant sun. And then one of the big things, and I'll go forward in a slide, we're going to be at the New York State Fair. I will personally be there on the first and last day. First day being next Wednesday, the last day being Labor Day. We also have some of the other Eclipse folks from across New York State helping represent the area. We will have our giant Eclipse glasses and a bit more that I'll show in a sec. We'll be at the Red Wings.
Yes, I think the next slide has our, but so let's.
And we'll get to that in a sec. We have some talks coming up. We'll be at Clothesline. We'll be at the Fringe Festival with Astro Fringe on the evenings of September 22nd, 23rd at Parcel 5. If you have a telescope, please reach out. Our goal is to have 50 to 60 telescopes covering that area. We should have gorgeous views of the first quarter moon, Saturn and Jupiter that evening, plus every other object that we can possibly see. We're working on convincing all of the neighboring lights to be turned off. Lots more updates coming soon. That weekend, I also have a talk at the Penfield Library. We should have a table at College Fest. I will be emailing volunteer information out, as I can't be in 2 to 3 places at once, no matter how much I would love to be. And I could really use your help. And then, of course, there's the partial solar eclipse that we'll talk more about in a second.
So let's just talk really quick about Eclipse Day at the Red Wings. It is a week from Sunday. It is so gratifying that the Red Wings and the folks over at Innovative Field have invited us and our group to use this as an occasion to talk about the eclipse. So here's how it will happen. It's a 1:05 p.m. game. And the reason we chose the end of August for this game is that for this event is that approximately 3:20 p.m., when our eclipse happens. At the end of August is when the sun is in the same place in the sky at 3:20 p.m. So it's quite poetic. But at the first 2,500 folks who are in the door, in the gate, will get free eclipse glasses. And then at the end of the game, everybody will file out to the field, to the outfield, as Dan rolls the giant 10-foot sun out to second base. Everybody will mill around. We will have drone footage and regular video footage, and as many photographers as please take photos for a big 3, 2, 1, put on your glasses around the sun, historic video and audio. And Harrison, we are absolutely planning to get that to you for the Totality movie, but as well as be able to share that as B-roll for all of the visiting press and all of the in local press for the moment of the eclipse, as we're talking about Rochester's preparations for this. So it's gonna be so much fun. 1:05 p.m. Get your tickets now. If you're part of a business that, you know, just to rally your folks and have fun, this is a great game to go to. They will remember it, not quite as vividly as the actual eclipse, but they'll remember you know, getting ready for it. So it's a perfect end of summer stuff for your family, your business. Get your tickets now, please. We want lots of people.
For ticket information, go to the Red Wings website, or if you go to our event page on RochesterEclipse2024.org, you can get the direct link to the ticket site for more information. Relatedly, it just hit me, we didn't add one slide into this presentation.
What slide is that, Dan?
I forgot to mention. So end of August, early September, if you were to go outside at 3:20 p.m., the sun should be in about the exact same location as it will be on April 8th. This is a fantastic time for you to go and scout out your locations to get a good idea of what your surrounding area is going to look like. Admittedly, we probably won't have as many leaves by then, but at least you'll have an idea where the sun should be. We will make sure to send this information out as well. And if you want to get as close as possible, the date is September 1st, and then go out at 3:20 p.m. and you'll know exactly where to find the sun. I do have to mention, do not look directly at the sun unless you're wearing eclipse glasses.
Please. Thank you.
But please share your photos again, like we did around April 8th on social media. We'll be sending out more information.
Dan, do we have another cool poster to show people?
It's not quite a poster. It is a very long banner. This should be at the New York State Fair. So as part of our partnership with I Love New York, with New York State Parks, we will have this giant banner explaining the eclipse, and everywhere you can see it that's in the path of totality, at least some of the main cities, covering all the information. This thing should be about 20 feet long and 40 inches tall. If all works out, I'll be bringing it back to Rochester afterwards. And we are so lucky to be able to work with New York State Parks and the DNC to pull this off. We're going to have our giant eclipse glasses there the entire time of the state fair. You can do solar viewing there. They'll be, I think they'll even be handing out the New York State eclipse glasses there as well. So be sure to stop by. If you stop by the New York State Fair.
Recording
and hold on, making sure that's still recording. It is good. Be sure to stop by, say hi, and if you do, take photos. Okay, so we've talked about this a couple times. So save the date, October 14th, Saturday, October 14th at this year. If you haven't started planning your event already, please do. You should be running a partial viewing eclipse event. And here's a few more details. So technically, as we've already said, it's an annular eclipse that goes across the other part of the United States. It starts on the West Coast and ends in the Southwest. Texas actually gets it as well. The partial eclipse starts at around 11:59 a.m. Max coverage is at 1:13 p.m. and then the whole thing kind of ends at 2:27. There will be events all over the region. I know the RMSC, we should have our event up now or about to be up. There'll be an event at Stokey Farms for which they're doing a eclipse themed corn maze.
That's right. I'm there. They have Tyler Nordgren's 30 poster exhibit at Stokey Farms that month. So all of October. So you go into the main barn and you'll see that eclipse stuff. And then within their corn maze right now is cut in the shape of New York State and the path of totality through it. It's really, really cool. Corn is growing right now. And then they will have little clues throughout the maze that relate to Tyler's artwork and all the Western New York art that he created.
So lots of good events, and you should be running one too. If you do run an event, please remember to let us know. Submit it on the Rochester Eclipse 2024.org website. We would love to promote it. And this should give you an idea of what the view will look like. I personally use timeanddate.com to generate this. They have a lot of great information on 2023 and 2024, along with a lot of great infographics, which you've seen throughout most of our presentations. So it's a nice little bite out of a cookie. We started talking about this last time. I'm slowly building up a list, especially as people are asking to have experts at their partial eclipse viewing events. I will have more details very, very soon, probably very beginning of September. And once we have that information, we will start emailing out, hey, here are the possible people, and we'll start helping make connections. If you are an expert and want to help, or just want to talk about anything eclipse related, please reach out, please fill out this form. I will happily connect you with events. From here, I'm going to call on Anita from the Accessibility Subcommittee, for which, unfortunately, I haven't gotten to uploading our recent meeting yet, but we will soon. Is Anita here?
I'm here.
Yay.
There you are. Spotlight. And then share the screen.
Excellent. Thank you, Dan. Thanks, Deb. It's great to see everybody. We're really excited about the Accessibility Subcommittee. We've met twice. We're going to be continuing to meet monthly, leading into the final months of planning. If you've heard us before, you know that we're expecting 300 to 500,000 people coming in. We live in a region that has 1 million people in it. At least in Greater Rochester, we know there's 300,000 people that live with a disability. As Dan said, this is the event for everyone under the sun. And the Accessibility Committee is very interested in hearing from the event hosts, those of you who are planning events or you're working around this particular event coming up, because sometimes you just may not know what kinds of questions you should be asking while you're planning. There's can be some pretty basic ones like you might think of sign language interpreters, you might think of other language interpreters, you might think of having large print materials when you're handing out for people that need that larger print, or you might just not be thinking of these things. But we encourage you, to come to some of the some of the accessibility subcommittee meetings. Since they are monthly, it's easy to jump in, get a sense of what kinds of things questions people are asking and the answers that are being provided. We do have a free available to all. Really hope you use it and widely share it. Inclusive event planning resource packet. And that really should spark your planning committee to make sure that you're thinking of these things now. Waiting to the last minute, it probably will feel more like a oops than you really want to have at your event. As one of the Porta-John rental company places said to me, they probably won't think about it if you do have an ADA compliant Porta-John, but they'll definitely remember that you didn't have one. So today's tip is that you make sure that you have ADA compliant restroom facilities. We do suggest that you arrange those now. People are already putting in their orders for those. just a standard is 1 ADA version per 5 standard porta potties. You can certainly go beyond that and have more. And it's also recommended that you don't forget your hand washing stations at those. If you do have questions, if you're interested in having tactile and audible viewing experiences at your event, you have any other questions that come up, feel free to contact me and we'll try to help you find those resources and give you those ideas. Do be on the watch out for inclusive event planning tips that will be coming your way. We'll put those out at a regular basis and give you those little tips, those little chunks of ideas, and make sure that your committee receives them and puts them into play. Thanks very much.
Thank you. And hold on one sec. Move spotlight. Speaking of which, if anyone is interested, one of the materials that we recently received is the Getting a Feel for Eclipses, the Braille books created by NASA. We have 3 copies. If anyone ever wants to borrow one, please email me. These are just lovely tactile versions of the eclipse path and more information about eclipses. We also have a full collection of their space books in general. Going to share the slides again. So quick update from the RMSC. Also, I want to point out what was brought up in chat. It is not going to be a 20-foot banner. It's going to be 15.5 foot, which is the final print size. Still pretty good. So RMSC has been quite busy. We have hired Gallo Events to produce the Rock the Eclipse Festival. We do have sponsorship opportunities available. You can email us with any questions. We are thinking big.
Jen is in this meeting, Jen Gallo, who's going to be running that. So Jen, if you want to just sort of put your contact information in the chat too, so that people know to get in touch with you directly for sponsorships or other questions like the, the practical aspects that we're really excited to be working with Jen. I've worked with Jen for a long time. She's fabulous.
Yeah, thanks, Deb and Dan. Yeah, I'll definitely add that to the chat, and I look forward to meeting everyone and partnering together on this. So thank you.
Of other big announcements, as we mentioned earlier, we have our new countdown clocks. We created this slide before we decided to put the clocks right behind us. We, as a Eclipse Glasses updates, I know the RMSC will be receiving another 10,000 out of our larger order in the next week. And then they will be getting back to me ASAP about when the rest of the printing and manufacturing will be done. I hope to have very good news soon. Turns out it takes a while to produce 493,000 Eclipse glasses. A little longer than I had thought. Still, we are all in good shape, and we're going to make sure that this entire region is covered. In fact, we've heard from some of our surrounding counties that they have ordered large amounts. I know Livingston County has ordered at least 70,000. Genesee County has ordered another, couple tens of thousands. This, I want to say the Greater Rochester region is going to be fairly well covered. We have worked out, we are figuring out dates for Eclipse training. We have gotten this request a lot. I just need to look at the calendar, especially with all of the upcoming conferences, to see if we can get it in before the partial eclipse. But otherwise, stay tuned for more details. We're working on our event. We also can officially announce that Science Friday will be attending the Rock the Eclipse Festival. Some of you might hear them on NPR on Fridays. Not only will they be, broadcasting and recording people, but they will also have a hands-on activity area.
You need to congratulate Dan on that, everybody. Hey, Dan.
That has been a lot of fun. And then, of course, we've been out in the community doing a lot of outreach. Deb and I have been hopping around, traveling with giant glasses, giant suns. This is from last Friday night at Movies in the Park with Monroe County Parks. It was a fun evening. So here I'm going to turn it over to Lori with the Genesee Transportation Council.
Hello. Wow, today is really exciting. There are a lot of fun things that you guys are sharing with us, and I love it. So with all of that great stuff, I'm just here to remind you that you got to be purposeful about your transportation plans as you're planning events, as you're planning where you might want to go yourself, if you're going to a friend's house. Just keep all of that in mind. Be mindful of where you'd like people to park. If there's a place you don't want them to park, that you need to really be deliberate about that and put up some ribbon, do some things. Especially keep in mind, we have a lot of agricultural fields and people might, want to pull off the side of the road or pull into a field, and that may not be a good idea depending on the soil conditions and things like that. So just be mindful of that. Also, while you're, thinking and coordinating, think, bottom up, try to reach out to some of the folks that you might need. You're probably not going to get a invitation to make, what are your traffic plans, or how can I help you with this, an emergency management sort of thing. So, try to anticipate any needs and, coordinate that early. Also, like Dana said, we're going to be also using all that event mapping information for traffic management purposes in Monroe County and beyond. So please consider, posting and sharing your event information with us, even if it's not, ready to be publicized yet. And also, whenever you get the chance, remember to arrive early, stay late, tell that to everyone and encourage people, just so that we can really focus on the event and the unity and the community, and not so much on traffic. So if anyone has any transportation related questions or concerns or ideas, feel free to reach out to me or Jim Stack. Oh, and of course, also remember, Take Tuesday too is a little hashtag that we've come up with as well. Just to encourage people to stay overnight. If you're inviting house guests, I know a lot of you have already said you've got your couches are accounted for and spare bedrooms are accounted for. So, as people are starting to talk to you about making a family vacation up here or what have you, encourage them to say, why don't you stay over another night? I'm sure they're very lovely people. Have them stay over another night and relax, spend time together, and go explore Greater Rochester and stay out of traffic. So more on that stuff coming soon, but just don't forget transportation.
We are mapping a lot of things out. Thank you everyone who's already even given us the hint that you're running an event. The map that Genesee Transportation Council and myself, we've been collaborating. It's starting to look really nice with how many events are going to be taking place.
Also, one of the things that we talked about at Tuesday's Visit Rochester meeting, Lori, you'll be happy to know, is that the Genesee Transportation Council has an ask of all hotels, or those who are hosting. If you have a list of attendance by zip code, those who have booked your rooms by zip code, you don't have to, no identifying information or anything like that, but the Genesee Transportation Council wants to look at where folks are coming from so that they can more adequately plan the egress out of Western New York, if they can have a sense of percentage of likelihood of flow. So if you are a hotel partner or know of one, please, if you could sort of mine your database now and as it gets closer, Genesee Transportation Council really will use that data.
Yes, absolutely. Good point. Thank you.
Now I want to call up Visit Rochester. I should have asked, is it going to be Diana or Rachel speaking? That is something I should have thought about asking while we chatted earlier.
I can start, and then if Rachel has anything to add, she can chime in.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, so we at Visit Rochester are very excited to unveil our Path of Totality Awesome campaign. Not only promoting Rochester as a destination to view the eclipse, but all of the other amazing tourism assets that we have in our community or in our path that you can enjoy on that visit, or return visits after the eclipse for reasons to come back and visit us again. And just letting consumers know that no matter what phase of life they are in, we have something of interest for them. So we are very excited about this. This is just the initial kind of creative that we are running with, and we'll be unveiling future tactics and strategies as we get closer to the fall and closer to the eclipse. But this is what we've got. And the next slide, Dan. So we are planning a major media event this October in Philadelphia at the Franklin Institute. It's not a press conference. It really is an interactive media event that promotes all of our assets and everything that we are doing to prepare for the eclipse, and drop the hint that they should be considering Rochester as their broadcast locations. We are also unveiling, we have ongoing eclipse related content being promoted to consumers through our website and our blog and our consumer newsletters. This is a reminder to all of you that if you are planning on being a viewing location, please submit this to our website so that we can promote you to consumers and visitors considering our destination. And then finally, just some partner engagement. We will be engaging Visit Rochester members this fall with a little surprise and delight by dropping off eclipse kits to our members, mainly hotels and some of our larger attractions, with some treats, some Sunny D and moon pies to get them excited, and some eclipse glasses. So just keeping it top of mind for everyone and making sure everyone continues to be excited as we get closer and closer.
Thank you. I will say we now in the planetarium do have Sunny D always in the refrigerator. I don't know if I've told you that.
No, but it's exciting.
I don't know if this is appropriate to share, but for the adults on the call that are 21 and over, they do have Sunny D spiked seltzers that I saw at the store the other day. So just throwing that out there.
And if I could just add, unfortunately, I have nothing else to share regarding the spiked Sunny Ds. Those do sound delicious, though. However, just going back to the Visit Rochester website, if you would like to be listed as a viewing location for the general public, please don't hesitate to send me an email. It's just Rachel, RACHEL @visitrochester.com, and we can add you to our list. Similarly, if you have an event for April 8th or that weekend, we would love to make sure we can add it to our website. We have a special eclipse tag. I know there's also the ROC 2024 Eclipse website with the events, but again, if this is something that you're really wanting to promote, especially to visitors, please reach out. We would love to work with you to get that info up there as well. So thank you.
With that, I know we're getting to the end. The next meeting will be taking place on September 21st at 4 p.m. We will be back to being both in person and over Zoom. That means you can actually see the countdown clocks in person. Maybe I'll inflate one of our suns. We do have 2 different registrations, one for Zoom, one for in person. All of this information will be emailed out. So don't worry if you miss out right now. I'm sure we could also toss it in the chat. Action items for the fall, please hold eclipse viewing events. This is a great time to, start testing the waters, see how the public reacts on your site, and enjoy a lovely partial eclipse in October.
Yeah, so I mean, we talked a little bit about clever swag. The swag that you design needs to have the date. Okay, so April 8th, 2024. It needs to have the place, so your place in our region. So the name of you, and because people want to remember where they were, when, and then what. So Great North American Solar Eclipse. And remember, you will not have another opportunity in the continental US for 21 years. So this is it. People want all 3 of those things on whatever they're buying from you, which will be a lot.
And if you have any design questions related to the time, the date, or the phases,
shape,
or
I'm
the shape,
I'm gonna drop in the chat that link to what the different shapes of the sun and moon look like for your artistic reference. But also, so Rick Feinberg from the National Task Force, he just couldn't help himself. I said, Rick, do we have any graphics showing the difference between the phases of the moon and the stages of an eclipse? And so the man just went and created this whole explanatory page with all of the science beautifully explained, which I have just dropped in the chat. It's good reading for what it is that's actually happening and why those shapes are different. So lots of fun there. But it also, just so you know, the nerds on the national committee do pull their hair out a little bit when they see, and Dan too, but he's got lots of hair, when they see that it's like they're using moon phases instead of eclipse phases. It's not that the general public would know, but oh my gosh, we do. So make it right. Besides, eclipse phases are really cool looking and fairly easy to produce.
For other things, remember to order your eclipse glasses, send us those lodging reports, share ideas for stories, and just start really planning for, the rest of this fall and, 2024. It is really close and around the corner, closer than we probably would like.
Dan looks at this thing and just gets anxious. You can probably look, like if you see the seconds counting down over on the other side there, like you just like share Dan's anxiety here about that. But honestly, yes, but we are so prepared. I think that if you guys just hold to that, and also, you've got great, folks who will help you if you need anything.
We definitely do have really good solid footing here in the region. We'll get to questions in just a second. As always, please think about who isn't in this room that needs to be involved. Think about all the different audiences and communities. I know we bring this up every time, but we know that there are definitely people who have not heard about the eclipse that need to get prepared. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done. Do we want to do questions or announce what people are up to first?
I think we should just take Kara's question is really important, actually. So where and how do we order solar eclipse glasses? So you have two types, right? You can take advantage of the large buy that the RMSC did, these 493,000 that are about to come in. And Dan can tell you about that in a little bit. If what you want is to order your own branded glasses, you need to make sure that you order it from a reputable vendor, right? One that is ISO certified by the American Astronomical Society. And I've just dropped into the chat the AAS's list of approved vendors. You're going to have a really hard time doing anything branded for this October's event, but you still do have time to order for April. And the more we all can do that, I mean, the more not that I don't want them to buy the RMSCs, but honestly, as you can imagine, I'm collecting them. So if you do have yours, make sure you save one for Deb, because this is going in my
save a second one for the RMSC for our archives. We are saving these for the long term, hopefully for an exhibit in 55 years.
Do you have a way of talking about the pricing if they're going to take advantage of your buy?
Yes, if anyone does want to buy in bulk, we do ask that you buy 1,000 from us, but we do bring the price down to about 35 cents per pair. It equals out to like $350. We are, to tie into Julie's question, we are waiting for the glasses still to come in. It's taken a bit longer for the 493,000 to be produced and then shipped. We will have more updates as we get closer. I should hopefully have an update in like the next week, if all goes as planned. I was just on the phone with them this morning. But otherwise, we just want to make sure that everyone is safe. If you have any questions about where you're buying them from, please reach out to Deb or myself. We will double check that. As long as you're safe, we are happy.
Yes. Eliza asked about questions about the quantity of merchandise. And maybe there's benchmarks from Tennessee or something. So the main benchmark that I have is the word more. And that's because, so when I went to when I was in St. Louis the day before the last eclipse and was talking with the merchandise person at the St. Louis Science Center, everything was off the shelves already. It was like people had actually, just completely, there was 3X t-shirts and extra small t-shirts left. I got 2 of the last 3 mugs off the shelf, but more important, people will buy after the eclipse as well as that weekend. So you're going to be able to offload that merchandise. People will want to remember where they were when. Eclipsemerchandise.com, which is run by Carrie Falzone, who is also here on this call. Even after the eclipse, she'll be able to help you with the extra merchandising if you find that you're not selling. But like really, you'll be able to sell them online. You'll be able to sell them in person. More is better. So sorry, that's an unspecific answer to Eliza, who I know measures everything, but more.
So just kind of scrolling through the questions, see if anyone. I do love how Betsy and Sarah called out the New York Library having resources for blind, low vision audiences. That is a great link. There's some great work coming down the line. I think everything above that has been answered one way or another.
Should we show the maze?
Yes. So Julie tossed this into the chat, but I'll share it here, especially so that it's recorded.
So cool. Woohoo. I love it so, so, so much, right? New York State, there's our path, there's the sun. It's just, it's so beautiful to share out even 6 months earlier. It's part of our eclipse story, and I'm very happy about it, as you can imagine.
I mean, there is a line to be said, and I thought we were corny here with all of our eclipse puns, but
Stop.
That was David Turley, wasn't it? Yes.
But I'm bummed.
Okay, any other announcements from folks? We've got. anything else?
Will the links be provided in a follow-up email? Yes, we do take the time to get the video from today uploaded to YouTube. We do make sure that things are captioned. Just takes a little bit to get everything together.
And those emails have been getting so long that I just want to forewarn you all, in addition to my recaps, they're going to start coming faster, right? Because there's just too much in each of them. So don't unsubscribe, people, when I send you, even the small quick hits, because there's just going to be so much that you're going to want to store, take advantage of, and find afterwards. So yeah, it'll be in easier bites, but more.
We're getting requests for the upcoming meetings. We will be talking about social media soon as well.
Yes.
Oh,
Shane had a really important point
yes,
about,
information about safety viewing.
like when to view and when not to
Yes,
view.
we will make sure that we cover that. Oh, that's right. That is what I forgot to mention, because I didn't get to uploading it to our website. There's a number of things I have to upload to our website. It's just been a fun couple of days.
But the most important question that Shane's asking is
yes.
it okay to advise not to remove glasses during totality? And the answer to that is no, it's not. You have to remove your glasses during totality or you won't see anything. It is amazing, beautiful. You do not want to miss it. Totality is the only time you can ever look at the sun without your glasses, and you must take them off because you won't see it. You will miss it if that. So that is one of the bits of misinformation that has been going around.
We will be covering that again and again and again. We'll be covering it up basically until totality when we tell you to take the glasses off. And then after that, we're there. So something that we will be adding to our website is that there is a New York State design 3D printed pinhole viewer that design that's out there, created, I believe, by Betsy. You could correct me, DEC, New York State Parks. I'm not looking up.
State Parks. He used to be on the dark side with DEC, but he moved to State Parks. So we'll officially give it to State Parks.
But we'll be putting that up on the website. And once it's up on the website, we'll share it via social media as well.
One of the things we forgot to mention about Eclipse Day at the Red Wings, which is when? A week from Sunday, August 27th. We forgot to mention that day is the only day this summer that Totality beer, which is being brewed by Rohrbox, will be available. So, we've got something for everybody, including you beer lovers. If you want to be the first to try Totality, and you, again, won't have another opportunity until late in the winter. So come on out to the ball game a week from Sunday. I think, Rebecca, did you have something you wanted to say about that? You were like, no? Okay. You look like you were waving your hand there. Yeah, we're very excited about that. So more to come about beer. There are actually 3 beers, and you'll see the official poster of the 3 beers on a week from Sunday as well. So come to the game for more. I'm coming back from vacation for the game, by the way. 2 weeks, I'm coming back in the middle for this game, so y'all better be there.
Any other questions or any other requests on topics that people would like to see us really focus on over the next couple months?
Feel free to just unmute and talk and fight for the mic.
Or use the hand raise function. That also works.
That is too.
I mean, we are at 5:01.
Well, Dan and Deb, this is David Turley with I Love New York. I just want to say hello to everyone. Quickly, I've been absent the last couple of months because I just had a baby. I'm back from parental leave, but I just wanted to take a second to tell you how amazing and I am impressed I am with everything that this group is doing. You all know this, but your leadership is not only driving the region, but really driving the state. It is very impressive to see, you know, these things that you've been talking about for years come to fruition. For example, the state fair plan. I know that was something that you all advocated years ago. Wouldn't it be great to do an activation at the state fair? And it's happening. So I want to give you all credit, kudos. And Deb and Dan did ask I Love New York to provide an update on what the state is doing. And we will be giving some type of update in a future meeting, if not next month, the one after that, but it'll be some type of update either on I Love New York or a more comprehensive update on what the state is doing. Because the state is also doing its own promotional plans, and I'm excited to share that as well. One time's right.
So Dan, I'll take over for David to talk a little bit about what the state has been working on. Next week at State Fair, I Love New York will have glasses to be handing out in the Center of Progress building. If you talk to the ambassadors, and they'll be kicking back everybody to go take to the selfie station with the big glasses that Dan's setting up. So they'll be cross-pollinating between the two locations. But in prep for all of the traffic that will be seeing information about the eclipse, it has been a insane time for getting some resources on the state eclipse website for ESD I Love New York. So that won't go live probably until Monday, because I'm currently as I just private message Dave, I'm currently ignoring an email from their team at central office, their central office, mainly because I had a migraine earlier today. So, you know, we're limited on our capability today. But there should be a lot of resources that go up that include some public health and safety, not just eye viewing, but also traffic that DOT was involved in crafting. If you're going to be in the Adirondacks, Hike Smart and Hike Winter Smart, that comes out of DEC. Some other messaging. There's other stuff. TIC, you know, don't wear flip-flops in icy conditions. And then there's a lot of resources for teachers and families. So there'll be right now we have a 3-part website on the ESD, we're working on a 3-part section: public health and safety topics, family friendly activities and information, and the educator stuff that's not live yet, but it'll have some, they lied, it is live now. But that's pretty much, and then they're gonna have a 4th page for accessibility. Anita, I just connected you with Ben. He is one of my main contacts from the office of the New York State office for the Chief Disability Officer. He's been really helpful in working with disabilities, our audiences with disabilities, and they're creating some new documents as well. They're not quite live. I think they'll go live. They're supposed to be ready for State Fair. So I know they're waiting on a couple approvals. I think that's all I have for right now.
That was a lot. That's awesome.
Another small announcement is that Tyler Nordgren's artwork is finishing up this month. It's beautifully installed at the Central Library. So it's in the passageway that's underneath between the main library and Rundell. So, you know, definitely drop in there and see that gorgeous display. It will be traveling after Labor Day over to Nazareth College. So I believe it'll be in the Schultz Center or somewhere right around near there. So we'll install that early next month.
Something also that I keep on forgetting to mention with the giant eclipse glasses, if you take a photo with them and post to social media using the Rock Eclipse 2024 hashtag, you are entered into a contest where you can actually win a membership at the museum. And we've had some people already enter, and there's been lots of cute photos.
I think that's about it. I'm going to stick in the chat just to, you know, go and buy Red Wings tickets, please, for you and your family. That's the direct link to single game tickets, August 27th, a week from Sunday. It'll be really fun. You'll be part of history. Okay, I think that's about it, everybody. Thank you so much for attending. You will be sending you the link to the YouTube soon and all of the notes from this meeting.
And we'll see you either at the Red Wings, the State Fair,
Brew
or
Fest.
Flower City
Friday
Brew
night.
Fest, or, you know, next month at our next meeting.
Yep. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks all.
Bye.